I think like you mentioned that you're sort of trying to identify that 20% or those 20% of activities that are giving you the 80% return. I suppose that's about trying to identify where those key leverage points are. I'm just interested, I suppose, to dig just a little bit deeper to find out what things you've discovered. Like you've had a very varied entrepreneurial past and you've learnt a lot of things along the way. So what sort of things have you identified as those key ones?
Yeah, some of the key leverage points, and I love that idea of leverage because that's part of what got me so excited about info marketing is you do the work one time, like we wrote the letters one time and we keep selling them year after year after year. Where a lot of the products created them one time and keep selling them. So for me, leverage is a lot in work related tasks. So what else can I use this information or content for? So can we take, I don't know, for instance, like I'll be taking interviews and we might take the entire interview and sell it to subscribers who are buying it, but then we might take pieces of it and add it to my blog, transcribe it, add it to the blog. We might make it a chapter inside a book that I might want to release. So thinking about all sorts of ways, we might make it an article that we release out into the wild. So thinking about all sorts of ways that you can leverage what you're doing. So that's one thing. Leveraging your team is another. And that's certainly something that, originally up until I guess about 3 years ago, I guess, or 2.5 years ago, we it was pretty much me, my wife, and a couple of virtual assistants. We were running, a fairly good size operation, and I've had some pretty big new lofty goals around what we want to accomplish in the entrepreneurial space, and for that we need to bring a team in. So now for me, the leverage is about finding the right people, that the right culture, the people that fit what we're doing, and so that they're able to be working when I'm not working, and pushing through to the that common vision. And that's probably another leverage point is I spent a lot of time creating what one of my coaches calls a painted picture. And this is where our business is going to be in the next 3 years. And now everybody has read it. They're all on board with it. And so they know, instead of me as the boss or CEO kind of, always having to get a final say on everything, if it fits the painted picture, they're free to work on it at will.
So those three real key ones: getting or reusing the content as best as you can, making sure that you've got the team and getting the right people, and then painting that picture. I suppose they're real key leverage points. Are there any other like things that you've learnt along the way? I know you talked about sort of, it's amazing that you could build such a huge business with just like a real very small team to get to the point to where you are now. But I think one of the things a lot of people say is, oh, when I first started getting my e-support answered, my customer support as it came through, that was a big stepping stone. Are there any big stepping stones like that you can think of if you look back over your journey and go, when I started to do that was a big shift for me?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, one big leverage point that we didn't cover, and it would totally make sense, is copywriting.
Yeah.
Getting that skill that, instead of me having, I mean, I learned really early on when I was selling medical equipment that I didn't like just walking up and being toe to toes, belly to belly with somebody making that sale. I could if needed, but it just wasn't. I didn't look forward to the rejection, and so when I learned about direct response copywriting, I'm like, wow, this is really exciting. So then I just learned everything I could on psychology and writing sales letters and sales copy and so forth. And that was a big leverage point, because that actually, so it took my dad's business from a regional player to then we were able to compete nationally, because we were writing, well, I was writing ads for them to sell all sorts of medical equipment that my dad would look at it and be like, nobody's going to read all this. I'm like, oh, Joe, let's just try it, see what happens. And and so that was a big leverage point. And so learning that skill of copywriting or having that in your business, I think it's a very learnable skill. That's a huge leverage point, because now you get tens of thousands of people coming to your website and they all get the exact same sales message delivered perfectly. You mentioned having people answer emails and so forth. Yeah, so when you start off, you're typically, doing everything. And there's definitely parts of your business that you're better at, and you have more leverage at. So I would much rather have somebody that I paid $8, $10, $12 an hour handling customer support, because that's not really my unique ability or something that I am incredibly good at. I kind of limited my time to product creation, to copywriting, and striking deals with other people, because that was where I saw the biggest, highest leverage of my time.
Very cool. I suppose some really key insights there to shift gears a little bit and I suppose almost finish up on a more lighter note because I know you get into some crazy adventures with everything that you do. I know you've got the Maverick program as well where you go on and you do all these different crazy things with other like-minded sort of entrepreneurs, but you've done everything from halo skydiving to running with the bulls and going zero G, and you were signed up to do the Virgin Galactic. But just was there any one sort of experience that if you were going to say to someone, "Hey, if you're going to do something, you should do this," it had the biggest impact or memory?
God, there's so many. I think what I would really tell people to do is create a big life list. And actually, on the blog at internetlifestyle.com, we have a little giveaway book. If they just search for, I think, life list. I don't remember. We have a
It's
URL
on the
for it too.
homepage at the moment, but maybe I'll link
Is
to
it?
it with the this
Yeah,
audio.
but we have a book that kind of outlines. My whole philosophy is banish the ordinary, and create a life really worth living. And for me, that means rich experiences and rich relationships. And so, just coming up with all the cool things that you want to do in your lifetime, whether it's an experience, whether it's someone that you want to meet, whether it's a skill that you want to have, whether it's an organization that you want to help, or how you want to be of service and impact others. All that stuff. Like, so I keep a lot of that on my blog. Actually, on the right hand side is kind of a running tally of my ultimate big life list. And I don't know if there's been one in particular that's been more monumental than.
Scuba diving in the Barrier Reef, that would have to be pretty special. I'm a bit biased,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I haven't done that one yet. I'll have to give you a ring when I go over there to do that. I don't know. Maybe maybe one of my very early adventures was Baja dune buggy racing in Mexico, and I went with someone you mentioned at the beginning of the call, which was Corey Rudel. And Corey and I were pretty good friends, and I went with Corey. He had to convince me my mom was really sick with cancer, and I wasn't sure I should leave her. And my mom was like, "Oh yeah, you should go." And so I went, and I had a really amazing, a great adventure, but B, it was just a terrific bonding experience with me and Corey, and just got to know him on a much deeper level. And unfortunately, a couple months after that, he got killed in a racing accident. And so I look back on that trip as a special time that we were able to share together. And it also was kind of a catalyst to start up Maverick Business Adventures, because I met a couple other really high level CEOs on that trip, and we kind of bonded right away. And the guy was a CEO of a NASDAQ listed company, and when I got home, we emailed back and forth, and those kind of relationships were built outside of a seminar room or a typical place that most entrepreneurs meet. And so I guess that was probably the one that really had a pretty good effect on me for multiple reasons.
yeah, Corey's still got some great stuff out there, and I know his sort of company lives on as well. So people should definitely Google his name. And I can't remember. It's like Internet Marketing Company or something. I think is the
Yeah,
name.
Internet Marketing Center.
Yeah, Center. So definitely worth checking that out. And your stuff, Yannick's definitely worth following. I know people can find out because you've got your own personal blog at the internetlifestyle.com. But are there any other ways, if people wanted to keep an eye on what it is that you're doing, that they could find you?
That's probably the best spot, is the blog, to keep up with what we're doing and all my crazy adventures, and then all the things that we've got going on. Of course, my site, just yaniksilver.com, and you have .org is a good place to check me out too.
Very cool. All right, Yannick. Well, we might wrap it up there. I can't thank you enough. You're very generous with your time. I know you're about to fly out. Where are you off to next?
Going to South Africa for the finals of World Cup and cage diving with great whites. So that should be pretty interesting.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to the story. So thanks again, Yannick.
All right. Thanks, Dave.